Hi. Um, Good afternoon. I hope everybody's enjoying their lunch. It's our pleasure now to introduce Robert Shaw, who's going to present our second annual Marlene Daniels Award to a leadership figure in the industry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to congratulate the organizers on this fantastic conference. It's really heartening to see so many friendly faces and such a wonderful event, and to be here at the 31st one of these conferences in a row. The Hellenic Chamber did a conference in 1991 on its own on OPA 90, on the Oil Pollution Act, and the following year Marlene Daniels suggested doing the conference jointly with the Norwegian Chamber, which was a really tremendous idea because the Norwegians over those years contributed greatly to the organization of the event. And so it's been a wonderful cooperation, and I'd also like to congratulate the organizers on their choice of award recipient today, because there really is no one, to my mind, who is more deserving. Clay Maitland is our recipient, and Clay is extremely unusual. I think more than anyone here, Clay is probably known to all of you, and if he's not, he ought to be known to you. He is a man of, he's not bashful, but he is modest. And I think that he is, yes, and his "yeah, right" just now is a good illustration of that. He's a man of, exactly. I'm not under oath, but what I say has the added advantage of being true. He is unique. In one way, he's unique, is that he is the president of both of the chambers. That is something that no one else has ever done or achieved, and I rather doubt anyone else will. And that alone is a great distinction. But with regard to this conference as well, he is unique in terms of his contributions, not only of great amounts of time, but also treasure. He has been a sponsor, he's been an organizer, and he's been a speaker. And we are extremely grateful to him for all he's done and that he does for us. With regard to this particular event and this particular award, it's worth mentioning that Clay was a very close collaborator and friend of Marlene Daniels. As I said earlier, Marlene was really instrumental in the collaboration between the two chambers that has now continued for 31 years, and that's a huge achievement. Marlene and Clay formed something called the Admiralty Finance Forum in the early 1980s that was to promote the knowledge and the excellence in New York that exists in the ship finance field. And I met Clay and Marlene in person for the first time, I remember, in 1982 at a closing at the old Liberian Registry when we were dealing with the registration in Japan of a Japanese new building that was being delivered to owners from Bergen. I was representing the owners and Marlene was representing the borrowers. And Clay was there at the registry making the necessary entries for the registration of title and the recording of the mortgage. So I have fond memories of them extending back to the early 80s. So I'd like to just finish by congratulating the organizers on this very excellent choice of recipient, and to also congratulate the recipient. Clay, well done. So Clay, you'll be voluble and modest.
No
Yes.
Stay up here with me, just to enforce rules of decorum. You know. Thank you, Robert. I'm deeply moved by this. There's a lot of history here. We lost Marlene in 1997. She is one of the founders, along with you, actually, Robert, of, I think, I'm right in this, of today's gathering. This is the 31st, as was pointed out earlier in the conference, of these. It's a bit unusual because it is a collaborative effort of the two chambers of commerce, Norwegian and Hellenic, going back 31 years, as I say. To date, I don't know of any other gathering, maritime or otherwise, certainly in the New York area, that represents a joint effort of this type of two separate consular organizations. And the ladies who currently are running the show, Live and Alexandra, who you both know, standing very demurely and modestly back there, deserve a round of applause from us for all of you putting this together. Thank you so much. The original one of these gatherings that was basically run by Marlene and her friends was entitled Raising Capital in the International Securities Markets. We've done programs like that since on ship finance. Maybe it's time to do another one next year on raising capital. We might even get Brian Devine to participate in one of these. You have to understand one thing. There are a lot of in-jokes here. Certain in-jokes involve inevitably Brian Devine over here. Some of them involve John Stratakis. And some, you know how dignified and erudite Robert is, but some of them even involve him. I was under the impression that we were going to give today's award to you, which I think would have been much more merited than to me. But better luck next year, Robert. Of course, we're on a committee, a self-perpetuating committee, so we do have to vote on it. And I want you to know that anything I say about you today does not represent a commitment to give you any recognition or any award in the future. Now, at that time, Marlene Daniels was a wonderful person. And on just one note that I think needs to be brought into focus is the fact that Marlene was a wonderful mentor. At the time of her passing, quite frankly, but certainly back 31 years ago, she was one of the few women in the maritime finance legal community, practically the only one. She had a biting sense of humor, and she said to me once, I said, we've really got to get more women into the practice of maritime law, particularly ship finance. And she said, oh no, Clay, that's all right, I want to be the only one. Look around the room and you can see how her work and her mentorship has had an effect. We need more progress. We need to get more women into the bar and into maritime law and into ship finance, and we're slowly doing it, and it's wonderful. There was no Worcester in those days. There is today, and it's really wonderful to see the progress that's been made. A measurable amount of that is thanks to Marlene herself. She was a terrific rainmaker. She brought a lot of business in, first to Hilbetts and Nash, where she was a partner, and then to Seward and Kissel, where she became a partner. And I'm proud to say that I was, as an outsider, we were then working for the Liberian Ship Registry. I had a very modest part in that, as did you, Robert, even though you were with a different law firm at the time, Hewlett Bailey. Thank you again. I'm going to sit down. I will, the second part of my speech runs to 31 pages. I will give when dessert is served. Thank you again.
We going to give you a toast to you. And
That's all I'm getting is a
Yes.
few slices of toast? Oh,
No, yes. Be grateful, be
yeah,
grateful.
I'm very grateful for anything I get. Anything I get.
Yeah. So here's a toast to you, Clay. Well done.
Thank
you
you.
very much
Thank
for
you
everything.
so much for
And
your-
thank you for everyone for attending and to the organizers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can I sit down now?
You may.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again.